With the official announcement of the second season release date of Please Don't Bully Me Miss Nagatoro a few weeks back, much to the sheer delight of the Nagatoro subreddit, the announcement had me thinking about why I love this series so much. In one of anime's recent best cases of don't judge a book by its cover, Please Don't Bully Me Nagatoro is a case study in character development. For those of you in the know, I've actually talked about this show in part 4 of my 2021 anime year in review video, because I could not talk about some of the noteworthy anime of the year and not include this series among that group. After the anime aired, there was some trepidation in the Nagatoro community since it took so long for the second season to be announced. However, what should be noted is how much the series has grown in popularity, not just in Japan, but around the globe. The series has surpassed over 2 million copies and counting, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
What?
I've sang the series' praises long enough.
What?
In my opinion, the series has 3 flaws. Its first flaw is that the manga is bi-weekly. I cannot describe to you how much I enjoy the manga, and it is a total palate cleanser from another manga that I read weekly that is just straight up bad.
Jesus Christ!
The series' second flaw is its start, which I am going to touch on here in a bit, and the series' third flaw is our main couple's relationship. Now let me explain. I'm going to stop right here for a second and put a spoiler warning for the show and the manga. Okay? We good?
Let's get started.
Like I mentioned at the start of this video, this series is an anime case study in character development, and this obviously is represented by its 2 main characters. However, how the series starts completely casts a massive shadow on the series. It will continue to do this until it is addressed and appropriately, let me say that word one more time, appropriately resolved. Any current reader will tell you that the manga is absolutely fantastic.
Damn right!
And you can count me among those people. However, the more and more I read the manga, the more and more I remember how our main couple met.
So you see, that's where the trouble began. That smile. That damn smile.
To give you a quick rundown, basically, Naoto, aka Chad Pie, as he should be appropriately named, but he was still senpai at this point. He was studying in the library where Nagatoro and her squad were doing their best impression of the popular girl clique in the lunchroom cliche, except this time they were in the library that we've seen in like every teen movie. At some point, senpai accidentally dropped some of the pages of the manga that he's been working on, and one of the girls sees it and picks up a few pages. She then tells her friends, then the girls proceed to roast senpai, except for one girl who is mysteriously silent. Eventually the girls leave, but the silent girl stays. The silent girl turns out to be Nagatoro, and she proceeds to roast him and the thing that he loves most in the world, to the point senpai actually cries, then leaves him broken on the floor, embarrassed and ashamed. Senpai's torment was only just beginning. Nagatoro put him through the ringer, which included making him cry one more time, among a myriad of other humiliating things. I've heard a lot of people just read or watch that part of the story and immediately lose interest, and I can completely understand why. It's a rough start, especially compared to its series counterparts like Teasing Master Takagi-san or Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out, to name a few. For the majority of their relationship, Nagatoro has dictated the pace and course, but slowly and surely, we've seen senpai take the reins more and more and continue his evolution toward Chad Pie.
Huh?
帰りましょう、先輩。
This moment will always be goated in my eyes. Disclaimer. For the rest of the video, senpai will be referred to as Chad Pie, a title more befitting of his station. I can't believe how much he has grown, and it feels like we are approaching a really big event that will cement the man senpai is striving to become, especially after the revelation he had during the school trip in the last arc. I want to make this absolutely clear. I really like Nagatoro. But she's also not really a good person.
What? What?
Move this man!
Okay, look. Put your pitchforks down for a second and let me explain. If you were senpai, would you really be hanging out with Nagatoro at all, especially with how you met her?
Don't worry, I'll wait.
I want to make this absolutely clear. The story we are experiencing right now is maybe the absolute best outcome of this relationship. Like Doctor Strange looking into the future and finding only one way to beat Thanos. This is basically the same thing. Nagatoro Hayase is a glass cannon, always on the attack, but she can be surprisingly flustered when she's on the defensive. But she always finds a way to be on the attack again with mixed results. More on that later. I still kind of think that the public perception of Nagatoro is still mixed. I've talked to a lot of people who've said they don't want to watch the show because of the trailer and other clips on YouTube, and I just sit there and look at them like, bruh. You won't watch the show, but you keep telling me to watch Date A Live? Get the fuck out of here. You know, I have a question real quick. Date A Live is in its 4th season and has 2 movies. I have the Funimation app, so this information is readily available. Damn. Funimation. Wrist and power. Why does Shido ever get flustered anymore by whatever the girls or spirits or whatever the hell they are do anything romantic anymore? Bro, it's been a while since you met them. Figure this out already, unless they're about to... Okay, as you can tell, I ended up watching Date A Live and I did not enjoy my experience. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Nagatoro. When Nagatoro first met Chadpai, she was intrigued. He was different than all the other boys. Chadpai had this passion for art and Nagatoro could clearly see it in the little manga he was working on, and she wanted to know more about him. The problem is, Nagatoro, especially early in the series, is a terrible communicator. In her quest to know her crush better, she outright terrorizes him, interacting with him the only way she knows how, always leaving most interactions happy, not knowing the potential mental or physical devastation left in her wake. I don't know how many of us would have taken it like Chadpai, without really fighting back in some way, whether it is through an outright confrontation or just running for the hills every time you see her. Despite all the good things Nagatoro has done, such as getting Chadpai to have more urgency in his life and raise his self-esteem, not every good deed comes without consequences. Here are a few examples. When Nagatoro first started modeling for Chadpai, he was obviously too embarrassed to draw Nagatoro confidently, which resulted in a picture looking more like a sketch than an actual portrait. She made fun of him so much that he actually cried again. This prompted him to get better at drawing Nagatoro in future situations, but in all honesty, she could have found more productive and healthier ways to get him to be a better artist. Or when Nagatoro saw Chadpai run a marathon poorly during gym class. She forced him to come and run with him on the weekends and made fun of him again to keep him from not giving up when he was tired and actually finish the marathon training. It's kind of like she fails her tasks successfully. Nagatoro has a bad temper as well, but I think this is more of a female anime trope more than anything else. She gets mad at Senpai for outrageous things though, like when she beat him with that bean bun after Chadpai was tricked into touching Gamo's chest and she saw it happen. Or when she rubbed sunscreen on Chadpai's back using her feet when they went to the beach. This situation was completely uncalled for by Nagatoro. And for what? An actual true statement that Chadpai said? She knew for sure she was wrong when her friends joined in. I'm not trying to pile on here, but I want to show everyone just in a way that Nagatoro and Chadpai's relationship was toxic, or at least unsettling. Those of us who have followed the series thus far have been blessed by an amazing run of chapters. To be honest with you, I can't remember the last time the manga had a bad chapter.
I'm not crazy, right?
We know how far they both have come, and the future is looking really bright. Like really bright. Everything is lining up just right. Chadpai is ready, and with a little help from his other kohai, Hana.
Pause!
Hana is just so great, right? She should really be protected at all costs. And his love confession is on the horizon. Nagatoro is reaching her top form in judo and getting ready for her fated rematch with Orihara, and us manga readers already know what's at stake. With what we assume is on the horizon, it is even more imperative in my opinion that their initial meaning be addressed. Nagatoro needs to apologize for how she acted. I initially thought that this would be accomplished by inserting an actual villain into the story, a character who both of our protagonists would have to come together to overcome. Doesn't that sound familiar? Now this already has happened when Chadpai's art club president, Tsunomiya Sana, entered the story. The Prez played her part perfectly, showing Nagatoro her usual antics wouldn't work against her, plus she became a huge obstacle for Chadpai to overcome in terms of his art. And to top it off, she helped Chadpai and Nagatoro take their relationship to the next level. I think the story needs another character like this, again to push them over the edge to official territory. Obviously this is just my opinion and the story has progressed well without a villain, but I gotta say, I would be kinda disappointed if Nagatoro just beat Orihara and paid off her debt with Chadpai. Maybe this villain character could be one of Nagatoro's parents. We haven't met them yet in the story. Or maybe a swerve and it could be Chadpai's dad who could play this role, since Nagatoro's already met his mom and nothing seemed amiss there. Either way, I would like this villain character to challenge our lovable couple in a way which can showcase their growth, such as forcing Nagatoro to be accountable for her past actions in a way where she just can't use her bravado or power her way through, forcing her to be honest and voice her feelings for Chadpai. On Chadpai's end, he could complete his evolution into the ultimate Chad by declaring his love for Nagatoro publicly and defending her. You know, in that anime trope kind of way that makes the girl completely swoon. I actually had hope that Nagatoro's brother, aka Brotoro, would be this villain character, and while his initial first impression said otherwise, I'm still holding out hope for him. The scenario I had in my head was Brotoro challenging Chadpai to a fight for the right to date Nagatoro. I would love to see how Nanashi would make this situation play out, but this is all just a random guy's dream. Now that I think about it, I wonder when I started really feeling this way. I've actually been reading a lot of fan fictions.
I got curious, I was looking around.
And Nagatoro's community, at least the story itself, has great fan fiction potential, and one that I would like to recommend to you guys is called Cherry Blossom Palette. I completely forget the author of the story, but it is an amazing fan fiction which has a more Sakura focused, I don't want to spoil anything, but more of a Sakura focused retelling. And things in the recent chapter just got real, where Nagatoro just got called out for how she acts, and I cannot wait for the next chapter. So author-san, I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but I cannot wait for the next chapter. Either way, I cannot be more excited for season 2 coming up in January of next year, and with the way this year has been going, it'll be here before we know it. Sis Toro will finally grace us with her presence, and I know she has more than a few fans, me included. Maybe we can get a little Hannah action on the side, but I think she's coming in season 3.
Can't wait. Back to you.
Okay, wow guys, sorry I've been away for a while. I just moved to a new place and I'm currently thinking of undergoing a career change. Decisions. But more things needs to be done in that department. Either way, to make up for my absence, I've actually been working on 2, possibly 3 videos, and I plan to do a mass drop to thank you all for your support. I also just read this South Korean webcomic I also want to talk to you guys about, so I ask you to be patient with me a little while longer, and I promise it will be worth your while. Thank you all for watching.